Yeah, yeah. Trapping with my father in the pulpit. Pills, women on this crucifix. My mama either knew it or ignored it. Had a pistol and forgot where I stored it. God's grace that I never met a warden. Gang banging in the suburbs, you misguided. Work in my bedroom trying to hide it. Got a rush when me and the op collided. Why am I so violent? I did it for survival, in the trap reading the Bible. Drug dealers taught me tithing, father preaching revival. Touched a homie, we riding. When Trump said it was an epidemic, we was pushing pills at prom. White kids stealing from their grandma. Parents married to the ministry. Mama pulling on me, I'm drained, feeling lonely. Loose women consoling me. Ooh. Church taught me key to life, streets taught me price of a key. He can't read or write, 25K every week. He debt free, but he never at peace. Every time he see me, he tell me stay out these streets. Do that church thing, go at 8 to 5 at least. He a criminal to you, but like a uncle to me. See, his father was a pastor, he could relate to me. Ooh. Fedel.
Okay, God's child. That's what's up. You gave me a thumbs up. Now you can hear, right? Okay, cool. Man, I was just, man, my daughter, God bless her. My wife sent her down and she was like, yo, you know, you ain't got no sound. I'm up here yapping away. Anyways, listen, thank y'all for, you see, that's how y'all know when y'all are real subscribers, real brothers and sisters in the faith. Shout out to all the channels that are on here. Y'all actually just stayed. Y'all didn't hear nothing. And y'all just stayed, and I really appreciate it. Like, so, Cure for the Soul, Latanya, thank you for staying. Chelsea, thank you for staying. Dre, thank you for staying. I appreciate y'all. I really do appreciate it. And they have their own channels that they run. Harrison Family Values. I really do appreciate y'all for sticking around because I had no sound. Didn't know because I had to, you know, when you reboot your PC and all that other stuff, your settings get off and yeah. Anyways, but listen. What I was saying was I appreciate Latanya, and I appreciate Latanya because she had a live earlier today or earlier this week that was so dope, and she was like, "Look, y'all, listen, we know we're Christian, but let us not bury our heads in the sand and act as if we don't know what's going on in the world. All right, if you sit down at a barbecue, cookout, or what have you." You would want to talk about, you know, recent events, the latest events, what's going on, not necessarily gossiping, but just talking about what's going on in society and what's going on in society and dare it not be all Christianese. All right. And that's what we're doing today. We're talking about something that is going on in the culture that everybody's talking about, or a lot of people are talking about. All right. Even those of us in the faith. And I thought it would be very fitting to address it. You know what I'm saying? And I really thought it was good that we had a sister in the faith, you know, say, hey, you know what? We need to talk about these things that, you know, are going on in society. And listen, y'all know I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm going to say what I need to say and cover what I need to cover as the Lord leads me. All right. But it was really just good to hear that from Sister Latanya earlier this week. Y'all listen, as y'all can see, I don't have my uniform on. Yeah, know I usually have that black hoodie on all the time, right? And mostly I like all the videos. I always had that black hoodie. Always. But yeah, it's 104 outside right now down here in Dallas. All right. It's 104. Like I kid you not, it is 104 and it's gonna be 105 tomorrow. So it is extremely, extremely too hot to be wearing a hoodie. Now it's been too hot to be wearing a hoodie. To keep it a buck, we ain't hit summertime yet, but as y'all know, down here in the South, we feel like we in midsummer at this point because it's been hot for so long. But we don't officially hit the first day of summer until the 21st of June. You know what I'm saying? You know 10 days away. But we hitting triple digits already. We ain't even hit the summer. So how that sound? Yeah, 104 today, 104 tomorrow. It is hot. So yeah, so I'm in my my baby blue or whatever today. But anyways, y'all, what's the temperature at? You know, what is the temperature where y'all at? Dre, I know y'all got to be at least in the 80s, bro. At least in the 80s. At least in the 80s. Okay, Godchild, you are in Dallas too. Okay, awesome. That's what's up. Yeah, it is. It is scorching out here. Let me know what the temp is where y'all at. You know, y'all 73 Dre in New Jersey, upper New Jersey. Really? That's what y'all 73. Get out of here. Anyways, moving on to the topic. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Y'all saw poor little Michael B. Jordan staring off into the distance, into the deep abyss, seemingly, right? He's into deep thought, you know, questioning his moves in life, this or what have you, right? And those of us who are not up to speed, let me get you up to speed. Recently, I'm hitting the mic. Dang, y'all can tell I'm rusty. I ain't done no lives in a while. Anyways, Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, which is Steve Harvey's daughter, they recently broke up. I think they broke up last week sometime or whatever. I don't know exactly what the date was, but anyways, they broke up. And for all the reports that are coming out, seemingly it was because Michael B. Jordan, who is 35, all right, wants to have a deeper commitment, a deeper relationship. He wants to move into that marriage phase of life. And Lori Harvey, who was 25, ain't about that life. She ain't about that life. She said, listen, where is it? I don't want you. 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 She don't want to get hitched. She don't. At this phase of her life, she's 25. She's like, no, I don't want to get married. Now, listen, Michael B. Jordan is at that phase of life where you definitely, first of all, you would want to get married even before this, but definitely age 35. Yes, you want to get married. Now, listen, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but long story short, she rejected the dude. They called it quits. They split. And then you get old dude. Y'all saw the thumbnail now. Y'all probably saw it circulating all around the internet. Dude looking like a sad puppy, looking like a dude whose dog just died at the basketball game. He's sitting courtside at the basketball game, looking off into the distance like his dog just died. Just looking terrible. And he should be heartbroken. Now, listen, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm gonna go into this. Now, listen. For Lori Harvey, let's talk about Lori Harvey's options in this situation, y'all. Now, listen, I'm gonna try to be delicate with this situation, but y'all know I really don't care. There's gonna be some times where I'm extremely delicate. There's gonna be some time where y'all gonna see some warped sense of humor because I have a warped sense of humor. I know I laugh at stuff that ain't even supposed to be funny. That's how I like to get down. But anyways, listen. What are your options, Lori? If you found the man who seemingly, and I say seemingly, has everything you could want or need, and he wants to lock you down, right? He wants to lock you down. What are your options? It's either you could find somebody who mirrors Michael B. Jordan, and in that case, that's foolish because they're like, wait a minute, if you're going to find somebody that mirrors Michael B. Jordan, you might as well go ahead and marry Michael B. Jordan, right? So that's one option. Find somebody who has the status, who has the money, who has the resources, who has the connections, who has all of that, or level up, right? Or find somebody even better, right? Because we live in a hypergamous society. So there you go. That's your one option. Here's your second option. And this may be kind of vulgar for some of y'all, but listen, I'm going to keep it a buck. Here's the second option. You could just ride the cock carousel. Just ride the pony. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that video by that song by Genuine? Ride that pony. Listen, just ride the cock carousel. Because at this point, That's what you're basically saying. I want to go and still venture out and have fun in my 20s. Thank you, Latanya. Yeah, we're all grown. Yes, the cock carousel, because I could have said it a lot worse. Because that's what you're basically going to do. Don't tell me you're going to say no to Michael B. Jordan and just be celibate for the rest of your time until you get married. That's not what's going to happen. Let's please, come on, Christians. Let's not do this. Let's not do this and be like, oh, she, this is her option. She chose and made her decision. Yes, she did. But let's not be foolish and say, you know what? She's going to become a Mother Teresa all of a sudden and just lock it down. Just close them. No, she's not. She's going to ride the cock carousel. And so this is where that lack of wisdom comes in, because it's either, hey, marry this dude who has seemingly everything I could ever want or need, or do more. I ain't got to finish that. I had a dude, this was months ago. All right. Latanya says the sexual immortality is off the chain in 2022. Yes, and it's been off the chain for a long time. A long time. All right. I had a dude months ago commenting. It was my first video that I dropped on the what was it? Masculine. What is it? Christian masculine. Masculine Christianity. That was the first video I dropped in that series, Masculine Christianity. And the first video was called Why Have Men Left the Church? More fittingly, why have black men left the church? And I had a dude comment on that video. He said, listen, I'm gonna tell you why dudes left the church. Why dudes are leaving the church. Because we have a church full of people, full of women who have rolled and not just hopped on it and hopped off, hopped on and I'm talking about rode the choo-choo train, the cock carousel all through their 20s, and then they get down to their 30s, and all of a sudden they want to get serious. All of a sudden they found Jesus. They done found Jesus. Well, I guess you have found Jesus. At this point, he's the only other option. I guess so. Now, let me be nice. Let me be nice. His point was this. He was saying that, listen, the men who are looking for wives at that point in their early 30s and stuff like that, they don't want, dare I say, used up women. And it's not to say that every woman that gets married in their 30s or in their 40s is used up. That's not what we're saying. But if you're a modern woman and you out there having hot girl summer, and you can't have nothing but the city boy, y'all know what I'm talking about, and you've been riding the cock carousel for about a decade and a half, and then you get to the age of 33, and all of a sudden you want somebody to come in with a cape and save you and say, pick me. No. That's one of the reasons why men have left the church. They say, man, I can get better than this out in the world. That's what he was sharing with me. This is what he said. All right. This is what he said. And I ain't got no arguments with him. Yeah. God's child says, sadly true. Hey man, I'm getting a lot of support from the women. They're like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Sadly true. Yeah, it's true. This is what's happening. Now, listen, I remember. Now, listen, So Lori seems to be following that same path that I just talked about. She's following that same path. I'm going to just ride the cock carousel until, I get into my early 30s, mid 30s, and then I'm just going to pick a good man off the good man tree. That tree don't exist. It don't exist. The good man tree that they've been telling you about, that your granny and your auntie and your big mama been talking about, that tree don't exist. You don't have a surplus of men just waiting for you as soon as you get off that carousel, like like the little kids, like children riding at a carnival. They get off the carousel, ooh, ooh, and then mom and daddy's waiting on them. Well, ain't nobody gonna be waiting. Let me stop. I remember back when me and my wife were dating, and we were about to get married. And Nicole will tell you this too. I remember she was in college. And I remember the people her age in college that were getting married. And I'm gonna come back to this later on in the live. I remember the ones who would get married. They weren't black, I'm gonna tell you that. They weren't. They were white girls, Indian girls from India, and Hispanic girls, and Asian girls. All of those girls found a way, just, my gosh, between studying, cramming for tests, all that. They found a way to go get married over the summer while they were in school. Me and my wife waited till, she graduated from college, and that was fine because we already knew we were going to get married anyway. All right. So as soon as she graduated from college, that summer, we got married. She'll tell you, we ain't lying. We got married. All right. We followed suit. And all we listen, this wasn't everybody. All right. There was about maybe one or two people. All right. Older black women were telling my wife that she was too young to get married. Girl, what you doing? You too young to get married. You too young to get married. You need to go explore. You need to go find yourself. You know what they were telling him? You know what they were telling her to do? They were telling her, go ride the cock carousel. And maybe Jermaine is going to be around when you hit 30 and you didn't have more experience with other dudes. That's what we feed our women. That's what we feed our women. And then we wonder why we're in last place. I'm going to get to some stats. I'm going to get to some stats here in a minute. Hold up. But listen. And you know what I heard from the black dudes, from the older black men? You know what I heard from them? I heard from them, smart move. Congratulations, brother. Why is it that the older black men, their mentality was, man, that's really smart. Congratulations. But the older black women, oh no, girl, you need to go get it busted, man. We have a more than fragmented culture. We have a broken culture that cannibalizes on itself. Here's my question. Just a quick question, real quick, that I want y'all to think about as I get caught up on some of these comments. Now, listen. What side? Let's see. What do you side with? What side do you side with? Who do you side with? Who do you side with? Now, listen. Listen, I know everybody wants to be PC and say things like, well, things happen. I get all that. I get it. But when people split, in your heart of hearts, everybody picks a side. Everybody does. Or listen, if you're not picking a side, tell me, who do you feel who do you sympathize for the most? Is it Michael B. Jordan or is it Lori? Y'all tell me in the comments real quick as I get caught up on some of these comments. Chelsea got me digging in their relationship. In these relationship clips, real heavy during a single season. Amen. This dating pool is low. Yes, sister, dating pool. Okay. Jermaine, sadly, that is. Yes, sadly, that is culture. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Gracious greatness from across the pond. What up, my brother? How are you doing? This dude, I was coming in with some money. I promise. I love this brother, man. I love you. Not just because you come in with money, bro. Because sometimes folk act like, we just all this stuff, lighting, mics, camera, all that stuff is just free. Bro, I love it, man. I really do appreciate it, man. We really do appreciate what you do. And I love the fact that you just support and you just chime in, man. Whether you give or not, I appreciate you. Hey, bro, just got back from a wedding. Yeah, man, I just got back from a funeral. Yeah. Praise God. Praise God. Both bride and groom were honorable before the Lord. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, important to see holy character in 2022. Oh, bro, we're going to get into that. We are going to get into that, my brother. Heidi generation. What'd she say? Heidi generation. You say, what is it? You say feminist Jezebel mentality. Oh, all day, all day, all day. Heidi, if you don't mind, tell me, what is your ethnicity? I just want to see who's chiming in. Like, no shade or no nothing. I just want to know, what is your ethnicity, Heidi? I don't want to make assumptions. God's child says Vodi Bakum said he had family members tell him he was too young to get married in his early 20s too. Yeah, he wanted to present his bride before the altar blameless, and they're still married today. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. That stuff can still happen. She said, I definitely ain't siding with no Lori. Okay, you said I don't know those people. Okay, well, cool. Hey, listen. Okay. Michael B. Jordan played the villain in Black Panther, just to let you know. He has multiple movies. He played Creed and all that other stuff, just in case you. Okay, let me get comment on this. It sounds like they didn't discuss that with each other and were looking for it at this point in their lives. Yeah, they didn't discuss it. They did not discuss it, and we're going to get into that. They didn't discuss it. They didn't. But I'll say this. Lori Harvey being 25, that dude is 35, but you got to understand at some point that dude's going to want to get married. If you're going to date a dude 10 years your senior in his mid 30s, you know that's clack time, right? Right? Whether y'all discussed it or not, at some point you got, okay, Mexican American. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Heidi. Appreciate it. Yeah. I'm going to go into some stats here in a minute. Yeah. So it seems like most people are they sympathize with Michael B. Jordan. They sympathize with Michael B. Jordan. Now, here's the question. Is this a westernized culture? Is this a westernized culture issue? Is this a westernized culture issue? And I say that I ask that because to say this, because we don't take, it seems like here in westernized culture, we don't take life seriously enough until later in life. And for many of us, that proves to be one of the worst decisions we could have ever made. I think it's called suspended adolescence, to where we elongate this phase called adolescence, which really doesn't exist. That's a made up term, honestly. I like how the Jews do it. Like say you go from boy to man. What is it? Age 12, boy to man. Boom. None of that adolescent stuff. No, because people be talking about they in their adolescence. They be like 22 talking about I was an adolescent. No, you wasn't no adolescent. You was a grown man who could drink, drive, do all that stuff, vote for president, all that. You was a grown man. You wasn't no adolescent. But we got people living in their adolescence till they like 32. Dude, you 32 sleeping on your mama couch. Chick, you are 30. You're 32 with 2 kids in your mama basement. You is not no adolescent. But it seems like here in westernized culture, it seems to be a problem. It seems to be a problem where we don't take life seriously enough until it's too late. And it seems to be worse as we go through the lines of ethnicity. It seems to get worse. And I'm going to get into those stats here in a minute. Now, I need to say this. Nobody is a victim in this situation. Nobody is a victim. All right. Now listen, I truly believe, just like what you call it said, what did she say? What was it? Rokita Johnson. Listen, I truly believe there's no red flags in this. I mean, there's no victims. All right. No, listen, nobody's a victim 100%. I'll tell you why. Because the red flags were there. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that, what is that? Belle Biv DeVoe, BBD song, Poison. How did it go? Let's see. Look. It's driving me out of my mind. What? That's why it's, black folks, we don't know the words of the song to words. It's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. I was like 10 when that song came out, so hold up. Can't get her. Is it can't get her out of my head? Can't get her out of my head. That girl is poison, right? Who remember? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that song. That girl is poison. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Who remember? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that song. That girl is poison. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that song. If you remember that song by BBD, Poison. Put a 1 in the chat. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Gracious Greatness from across the pond, my brother. Latanya, she remembers that as well. Yeah. I can't sing, y'all. I can hardly carry a tune. Gosh, child, I was 18 or 19 when that song came out. Yeah. So see, you were that age where you could actually practice some of that stuff in that song when it came out. I wasn't. I was 10. I couldn't practice none of that. I couldn't be a victim to none of that. Any of that. Rokita says yes, she remembers it as well. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. It's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. Can't get it out of my head. Miss her, kiss her. Okay. Miss her, kiss her, love her. Wrong move. That girl is poison. Yes. Thank you for helping me out with those lyrics. Yes. That's what it reminds me of. Poison. The red flags. Never trust a big butt and a smile. And it seems like, oh, dude, listen, you were looking at all of the physical features, all of that stuff. Listen, Chelsea, like, yeah, that poison. Chelsea wasn't even born when that song dropped, but she remembered that song, I guess. Listen, the red flags were there. Listen, the red flags are there for a reason, whether you ignore them or not. That's like, you looking at the speed limit sign that says 75. Look, down here in the South in Dallas, we go fast. All right, speed limit 75. All right, and you doing 90, and somebody says, "Hey, man, that's my wife. If I'm doing 90 and speed limit's 75, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. But anyway, speed limit 75. I'm doing 90, and my wife says, "Hey, babe, that sign says that sign says you should be doing 75. Give or take 80. You know what I'm saying? I can't look at the sign and be like, well, that's just a suggestion. It's not just a suggestion. All right. It is there for a reason. Red flags are there for a reason. It reminds me of the time, and I'm not going to get too long on this. It reminds me of the time when I was going fishing. Me and my wife, I kid you not, this is a true story. Me and my wife, I think this was before our kids were born. We were fishing in Oklahoma with my daddy, and he took us on a trail out in the country. And there was all these, we were passing on this trail. We kept passing all these red flags. All right. Mind you, we're passing red flags on this fishing trail. He wanted to get to this lake so bad. He was ignoring all these red flags. We get to the fishing pond. We get to the lake. We get to the fishing lake. Take out all the stuff. We catching fish, having a good time. After so long, we see live ammunition going straight over our heads. I mean, like missiles launching from 100, 200 yards away over our heads. I kid you not. Me and Nikki casting the rod into the lake. I mean, casting the line into the lake. As we casting, we see a missile coming over our heads, hitting mountains in the distance. Like, wait a minute. What part of the game is this?
No, God!
What part of the game is this? Why we got live ammunition going straight over our head as we trying to cast the line into the lake? After a while, there's an army man. I don't know what his rank was, but he said, "Hey, hey," and he didn't say it nicely. He yelled. You know why? Because that's what it called for. Ooh, I could preach right there. Sometimes when you trying to drag people off the path to hell, you ain't got time to be nice and PC. Sometimes you got to yell and be like, "Hey, hey, listen, it's danger over. Don't go that way. Get out the way." Pulling people out the fire. Listen, anyways, that I don't want to get off. I don't want to get off. Anyways, he said, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here. Don't you see? We're shooting right over your head." My daddy wanted to fish at that lake so bad. And my daddy is a retired military person. He knew what them red flags meant. He knew what they meant. Meant that they had live ammunition going into the mountain in Oklahoma. He ignored all the warning signs. Now, that could have ended very badly. We could have been badly injured or worse. And when you ignore red flags that are there for a reason, your life situation can end badly. You could be seriously injured or even lose your life. All because you ignored the red flags. Now you got old dude looking off into the distance at a basketball game where he should be having fun. All because y'all can finish it for me. Y'all can finish it for me. I think he met Lori, who he found very attractive. And he acted on his feelings rather than his intellect. He acted on the little head instead of the big head. And let me say this, all right? I want to keep it a buck, all right? I want to keep it a buck. What he say, Lizzo? Listen, listen, bro. Don't ever mention Lizzo on this live. Nah, we don't talk about Lizzo. We don't talk about we don't talk about any Lizzo on this live at all. Now, I know you saying it for a reason. You saying Lizzo for a reason. I know why you may be saying it. We don't talk about a Lizzo, whatever. We don't talk about Lizzo on this channel unless we're talking about how damaging she is to the community. Amen. Amen. But anyways, listen. I want to be real. I want to be real because listen, it is easy to do. Well, let me catch up with the chat real quick. What's it say? Yeah, my birthday would have been midway through the year. Okay. You're talking about birthdays and stuff. Okay. Facts. They run you off. Yes, they do. Yeah, see. That's why I don't fool with 635. I hate 635 is demonic. I hate 635. We don't fool with that. We live down here on the southern end of the Metroplex. We live down here in the southern end of the southwestern part of Dallas. So between Duncanville, Cedar Hill, all that area, like South Grand Prairie, is wonderful down here. We love like I-20. The furthest north I fool around with is 30. 635 is rough. I don't like fooling with 635. I just keeping it above. My wife don't like 635 neither. We love the South. Tanya said, "Whoa." I don't know what the whoa was for. Whoa was for something. But yeah, red flags. You better keep it a stack. You're already keeping. That's what's up. But yo, listen, yes. I wanna level with some folk real quick because I know there's some people out there like, wait a minute, you're being kind of harsh. Let me say this. It's very easy to do. And oftentimes, don't y'all find in life that it's very easy to do the wrong thing? instead of the right thing. It's it just seems like like the world is fixed in such a way to where it's so easy to do the wrong thing, and sometimes it can be so hard to do the right thing. It's easy to do. It's easy to do the wrong thing. You know, me and my wife, we actually examined this book, and we read this book called The Four Seasons of Marriage. Y'all should check it out. I think it's about Gary Chapman. The seasons of marriage. So you got winter, spring, summer, and fall. All right. So, you know, you got your winter season where stuff is just horrible. You know, stuff is dry. The fall season where stuff, you know, you got some warning signs that show you that, hey, maybe winter is on the way in your marriage. Then you got spring where everything is new, everything's budding. There's new adventures, new stuff popping off in your marriage and stuff like that. And then you will have that summer season. That wonderful summer season where it seems like everything is just rolling. The marriage, the relationship is running like a fine-tuned engine. Everything is going perfect. You know, it seems like, you know, that the person, your spouse, or you know, before y'all get married, the fiance, whatever, or let's leave it to marriage. Let's leave it to marriage. Your marriage, to where you can't do no. You know, your spouse can't do nothing wrong. I would look at Nicole; she can't do no wrong. She would look at Jermaine, who can't do nothing wrong. Praise God. Yeah, who can't do nothing wrong. All right, and like everything's running like a fine. You know, dates are wonderful. You know, sex is great. All this other stuff, and like everything is running like a fine-tuned engine, and you're looking through life with rose-colored glasses. Seems like summertime would be like the perfect time, right? Right? But let's be real. Summertime, especially down here in the South, we talking about 104 outside. That gets ignored because everything's running like a fine-tuned engine. But you ignore that. That 104 ain't nothing to play with, all right? And then everything's running well to where we overlook some of the things that we should notice, like that hornet's nest in the bush that you just casually ignore because everything's going smooth. Only for later in that season for the hornet's nest to get bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden you done got stung by the hornet's nest that you should have taken care of, but you didn't take care of it because everything was going perfect. Everything was running like a fine-tuned engine. Everything was smooth. Everything was copacetic. Everything was humming. And there's dangers. There is dangers in the summer season that we fail to deal with because everything is perfect in our eyes because we're looking through the lenses of rose-colored glasses. The Four Seasons of Marriage. Y'all should check it out. So in their relationship, because they ain't married, in their relationship, everything seemed to be perfect. Hey, she's in shape. She has a body. He's very attracted to her. She seems to have her own money because her daddy has money. So she's not like some groupie that's out for his money and all that stuff. And he's in love. He's in love, right? Summertime. But her track record, if you look into her past, I know we don't like to look into each other's past in folks' past, but you need to look at people's past because the past is the best indicator of someone's future. Now, I know that we're Christian. I know that God can blot all our sins away, but that past still did happen. All right. And unless she done came to the Lord, that past really matters. Did she have some coming to Jesus? Did she become a rejuvenated virgin? No, she didn't. She did not. So you need to look into that past. That track record has a lot of blemishes on it. You can look at the track record and see what she is. You can look at the track record and see, hey, she ain't about that life. She ain't about that life. But then, but see, this is what happened. This is what happens. What'd you say? What Regner? Okay, all right. Sage perception. What's up? Gracious greatness. 1 Peter 3:4. But let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart. That's what I'm talking about. With the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. Amen. Amen. And says, I understand. Okay. Okay. Thank y'all for joining me. I really do appreciate y'all. What up, fam? Yeah. Honestly speaking, 80-20 rule. Yeah. Now listen, honestly speaking, how you doing, sis? You finally caught alive. She finally caught alive. And I'm about to drop that link in the chat here in a minute because I'm gonna need some help when we get to this vetting stuff. Hold on. Cure for the soul. Latanya, what you say? My 20s were rough living in Atlanta too. Too much temptation and being away from my parents. Yeah, she keeping the buck. She's in her 40s now, early 40s, but she knows what it is. 20s are rough. They can be rough for a lot of people. Rejoice the son. What up? What up, my brother? How you doing? Great to see you. Great to see you. All the glitters in God. Oh, you better preach. Come on now. Wow. Say a word today. Is old deacon that used to be on the church. He didn't say a word. He said say a word. I don't understand how he get word out of word, but hey, I talk funny myself, so I can't talk. But anyways, listen. He started Michael B. Jordan. He started hanging around with dudes who are married with kids, aka the LeBrons of the world. And let me tell y'all, that's a very attractive life. I know people always want to poo-poo folks who are married with kids and, you know, got a wife, kids, and all that other stuff. And, oh, well, you know, that sounds boring. Okay. Until you don't have that. And all of a sudden you looking around like, man, I wish I had a spouse and some kids. Yeah, you do. You know why? It's very attractive. When you get out of all this BS, all this other dumb stuff, you know, this hot girl summer, this city boy summer, all this foolishness, you look around, you get to your 30s, you're like, you know what? Dang, I ain't got no wife and kids. And that's a very attractive lifestyle. Tell me it ain't. This is why I had young dudes in their 20s like, man, bro, I want what you got. Well, let me tell you how you can do it, bruh. This is one of the reasons why we made that pivot on this channel. Because we got tired of seeing people have these marriages and just like it was a lot of people that were clamoring for stuff. And I'm like, listen, but you got to make sure you get that heart right first or whatever. But it was young dudes who were like, man, I want that. And you know, like, I ain't do nothing. This is the grace of God. And it's called being obedient in God's grace and all of that. But anyways, enough about us. He started hanging around with the LeBrons of the world. All right. A dude who has a wife and children. And that's a very attractive lifestyle. I don't care what nobody say. Let me tell y'all something about me that y'all don't know. He started before I get into that, he started hanging with the LeBrons and all that stuff. He's like, man, I want that. I want the wife and the kids. That's what I want. And those two people, Lori and Michael, are on two different paths. She still want to ride the cock carousel. He want to lock her down. And we're going to get into that here in a minute. Now, listen, let me tell y'all something about me that y'all may not know. All right. I know I wear my hoodie and I know I talk real country and, you know, Southern accent, all that stuff. I really don't care. Hold on. It is great when you meet your spouse young. I feel like I dodged some bullets, though. When I look back, yeah, thank God. Yeah, praise God. Yeah. But listen, let me tell you about something that y'all may not know. Something about me y'all may not know, and some of y'all who talk to me off air or whatever, y'all know. I am a stat nerd. I know I wear the hoodie, and I talk with a heavy Southern accent and all that stuff. But I am a stat nerd. I've been that way since I was a tot, like a little kid. I grew up reading encyclopedias, and I told some of y'all this off air. All right, behind the scenes. I grew up reading encyclopedias. I study stats. I knew the populations of cities. I knew the populations of states. I knew how I studied this height of skyscrapers. I love skyscrapers. I studied city population. I realized I knew Dallas had 8 million people in it, and I didn't have to wait for that to become the general consensus. I pay attention to that stuff. We have over 8 million people. How do I know? Because we got 7.8 million, and then you got, or 7.9 million, and then you got a lot of unregistered people who live in the Metroplex, or people who did not participate in the census. So that means that pushes us over the 8 million mark. Anyways, but long story short, I am a statistician. I do accounting. So obviously, I am into numbers. And I'm about to hit y'all with some numbers that may be sobering and may be hard to handle, but hey, we're going to have to just roll with it. We're going to have to roll with it. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me share my screen. Yeah, let me share this. All right, now check this out. Let me go to. Okay, am I there? Okay, yeah, I think I'm there. Let me share this with y'all. All right, this is National Library of Medicine. All right, these people do stats for a living. The growing racial and ethnic divide in U.S. marriage patterns. All right, let's go past this summary. Let's get to the juicy stuff. Says black and white differences in marriage and marital stability. Says young adults in the United States are waiting longer to marry than at any other time in the past century. Women's median age at first marriage currently stands at 27 compared to a median of marriage of 24 as recently as 1990, and is low of just over 20 in 1955. Although social scientists debate whether today's young people will eventually marry in the same numbers as earlier generations, marriage remains commonplace. In 2013, more than 8 women in 10 in their early 40s were or had been married. Let's take a deeper dive. Contemporary differences. Here we go. It's finna start getting juicy. At the same time, racial and ethnic differences in marriage are striking. Here we go. The median age at first marriage is roughly 4 years higher for black than white women, 30 versus 26, respectively, in 2010. At all ages, Black Americans display lower marriage rates than do other racial and ethnic groups. See table 1. We're about to go there in a minute. Consequently, a far lower portion of black women have married at least once by the age of 40. Let that sink in real quick. Our tabulations of data from the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey of 2008 to 2012 show that nearly 9 out of 10 white and Asian Pacific Islander women had been married by the age of 40, meaning 9 out of every 10 Asian or white women have been married at least one time by the age of 40. 9 out of 10, that's 90%. As had 8 out of 10 Hispanic women. 80% of Hispanic women. And then you have 75% of Native Americans. Yet fewer than 2/3 of black women report having married at least once by the same age. So by the age of 40, 90% of white and Asian women have been married at least once. And then you got the other ones, which is, what is it? What did it say? Hispanics, 80% have been married at least once by the age of 40, 75% for Native Americans, and then less than 2/3 for black women by the age of 40. Let's get down to this table. Let's go to the 20s. That's where it gets. Let's go to the mid 20s to the late 20s. The ratio, y'all see that? The ratio, 115.6 for white. No, let's go to the highest. Asians, look at that. 133.7 for Asians. The next lowest, or the next highest, white women, 115.6. Third, Hispanic women, 81.0. Native Americans, 76.6. Black women, a rate of 43. A rate of 43. If that's not disturbing, this ain't Jermaine just picking stats out the sky. All right, I didn't make up them stats. Is it the way we're being raised or just the decisions that we're making? Y'all put that in the chat. What do y'all think? Is the way we're being raised, or is it just the poor decision making? I'm finna drop this cam up link just in case somebody want to cam up, because I'm gonna need somebody to cam up here in a minute. I want a woman to come on and actually have a talk, or brother, don't really matter. Yeah, bro, dang is right. Dang is right. Dang is right. You got 90%, you got 80%, you got 75%. Then you got, listen, 1 out of every 4 women, black women in our community, will ever be married before the age, or in their lifetime. I'm sorry, in their lifetime. But what is it? A ratio of 43, right? By the age of 40, and that don't mean life is over at the age of 40. That just simply means the stats say what they say. My question to you is, do those stats alarm you? Put a 1 in the chat if those stats alarm you. Yeah, y'all be willing to come up too, because I need to know what y'all talking about. I heard, I see you saying both. I don't know what that means. I agree, guys. Child. Okay, so let me go up to see what y'all talking about. Both what? What are y'all talking about? Both what? Chelsea, no, that part. No, I don't know. As long as we wasn't around Dwayne and yeah, listen, don't mention them folks on here, because them folks is trouble. They trouble. I don't know what y'all talking about. Both what? What are y'all talking about? Both. What is both? Combo of both. Oh, y'all talking about my question. Combo. Yeah. Okay. Both. I see what y'all say now. The question I asked, it is bad parenting or bad parenting and poor decision making. Okay, I got it. That makes sense. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. I got it. Yeah, the stats are heartbreaking. And it should be alarming. It should be. Secondly, are you encouraged? This is my other question. Are you encouraged or are you discouraged by what you see in your community, and why? I know that may seem like an easy, a layup, but hey, I got some people that'll surprise you. They'll be like, bury their heads in the sand. No, I'm not alarmed. There's nothing to be alarmed about. And then you be,
I look around this room and I see nothing but untapped potential. You have potential.
Yeah, that dude was lying. That's exactly how y'all sound. When you bury your heads in the sand and you tell them, hey, you got potential. That dude was lying. That dude's nose was growing the whole time he was speaking on that stage. Y'all remember that commercial? I look around. Yeah, anyways. Now, listen, this is what we have to remember. I just talked about the marriage rate. Now, those are women who were in there from 25 to 29. That was the marriage rate. All right. Now, what I just talked about the marriage rate for women in their mid-20s. What was he connected with? Who was he connected with? A woman who was in her mid-20s and ain't about that life. And that's where the conflict.
Honestly speaking, joined.
Okay, honestly speaking, join. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm about to come to you in a minute, sis. Thank you. She's in her mid-20s, and that's where the conflict comes in. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, y'all remember Samson and Delilah? Samson seemed like a good dude. He seemed like a dude that was, hey, you know what? You know, and they call this puppy love. That was Samson. Samson was just in love, and he just wanted to do the right thing, and he just wanted to, deliver. He wanted to be the deliverer of his people. He wanted to have a wife. He wanted all of that. And the whole time, Delilah's in the cut like, I ain't about that life. I ain't about that life. That's what this reminds me of. Samson and Delilah. Now here's what I see in our community. All right. And honestly, stay on here because I'm about to bring you up here in a minute. Here's what I see in our community. I see women who have babies by Negroes hoping that they're gonna make them a family man, only to become the side chick as he moves on to the next woman, like he was gonna do from the jump. Let me say that because it didn't come out clear. What I see in our community, I see women who have babies by bum Negroes hoping they're going to make him a family man, only to become the side chick as he moves on to the next woman. For modern women of any ethnicity, this is what we do. We give our best to the worst of us. And then we give our worst to the best of us. Y'all think I'm playing? Y'all think I'm playing? Remember I mentioned that dude who commented on there, and he's talking about women who are in their 30s and all this other stuff, and who had been around the block, been around the world, and all that. Yeah. And all of a sudden they done found Jesus, but Jesus didn't fix. Yeah. So listen, and I'm about to get real raw. And I'm about to go there. What I mean by we give our worst to the best of us is you want to have hot girl summer. And even this applies to men too. City boys or whatever. And there's smoking weed and all this other dumb stuff men do, and they give their worst to the best of women. But let me stick on with the women real quick. You live that hot girl summer through your 20s, then you get to your 30s and you want a man, you want to pick a good man off the good man tree that don't exist. All right? There's ramifications for having those hot girl summers. All right? Your doors are kicked in. Your foundation is cracked.
No, God!
Your foundation is cracked. Your doors are kicked in. And then you walked in talking about take me as I am. This is what I mean. This is what old dude was talking about in the comment section. We give our best to the worst of us. And then we give our worst to the best of us. And then we're just supposed to take it because there's a no judgment zone.
No, God!
Got your doors blocked. I told you I'm silly and I really don't care. And they love to take on projects too. Well, this is what they do too. They take on projects. They're like, Build-A-Bear, I done seen the lines get so long at Build-A-Bear. They like to take on projects. They go to Joanne. They love spending time in Joanne Fabrics because they just love taking on projects. Well, he ain't that bad. If I just build him, taking on projects. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother live, maybe next week. Fellas, don't go nowhere, honestly speaking, so I'm about to have you come on here in a minute. But I gotta say this for the fellas. Fellas, listen, I'm about to drop something so profound for y'all. Like some wisdom from the ages. That kind of knowledge that like your granddaddy would drop on an old wooden porch as he sat back in a rocking chair with a Kango hat on, smoking a pipe. That type of knowledge. Y'all ready for it? Are y'all ready for it? Here it is. You cannot turn a 304 into a housewife.
No, God!
Can't do it. Now I hear y'all out there, but hold up. You know who can though? God can. Yes, God can. God can do a whole bunch of stuff. But that's the stuff that needs to be, that's that work that needs to be done before y'all hook up. God changing you from a 304 into a housewife, that's that work that God needs to do, that you need to have the Lord do on you before y'all hook up. Let me tell you something, dude. Don't be a punk. God is not calling you to be the next Hosea. Y'all remember Hosea in the Bible, all right? Hosea and Gomer, where he just kept going after Gomer. Gomer was a prostitute. Gomer couldn't get enough of them streets. It got to the point where old dude had to go purchase his wife back. All right? That ain't what God is calling you to do. Listen, there's always that one dude. There's always one. I got to leave room for that. But 99.9% of us, God is not calling you to be the next Hosea. All right? This is why vetting is so important. As I bring, honestly speaking, who for whatever reason, every time she comes on my live, she never comes up. She'll listen. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got a Kevin up there. Okay, so listen. What am I about to say? Yeah, you can't tell us nothing. God can do that work. God is not calling you to be the Hosea. This is why vetting is so important, because if you get involved with someone and you get those feelings attached to someone, this is why the script, well, one of the reasons why the scripture, what Solomon 8:4 says, don't awaken love too early. Don't get attached to people. All right. You need to vet them first before you get emotionally invested in them. And so, listen, I want you to chime in on what you've heard thus far, and then I want you to help me out with this whole vetting process. How about that, sis? How you doing, my sister from Philadelphia?
Grace and peace. I'm doing I'm on the mend. I actually, when you get older, I threw my back out, and I don't even know what I did to throw my back out. Like, when you get older, you just mess yourself up randomly, and it's just what happened. I just got up, Lord. That's literally all I did.
Got up too quick, huh? Got up too quick. We'll say that. You got up too quick. How about that?
Got up too quick, whatever it was, right? But you said so many points. So do you talk about like nihilism? Like so for those who don't know, nihilism is the belief that like basically nothing matters, right?
Yeah.
And so many points you hit. So one, I'll go in reverse. The vetting. I am an equal opportunist. I do not believe that, I don't see singleness as a curse. I think that singleness is both a gift, but I think it's also sometimes the consequence of poor actions, just like being married to the wrong person can be a consequence of poor actions. And poor decisions based on insecurities, because though there are a number of people single, more divorces occur in the church than occur in the world. 51% in the church and 50% in the world. It's only 1%, but that's still significant. And again, when it comes to stats, as a statistician, you also would probably concur that the numbers are part of the story. We have to dig into why, which is why I love the question that you asked. Was it society or people being raised wrongly? And I'm going to say it's all of that, and it's something else that you didn't mention that I think impacts the nihilism of society. It's the fall of man, and the fall of man impacts us in certain ways that we don't even realize. Like, for instance, and this will probably lead into the discussion that we're more than likely going to have on like feminism versus misogyny, and but there are so many things out in the world that are meant to distract. So I do think when it comes to the vetting process, as you stated, number one, I agree that we need to be made whole before the Lord. And we also need to be working on ourselves, men and women. I think part of the issue is, as a therapist, my professor said something that kind of stuck out to me. She said, our deepest deficiencies become our greatest desires, right? So basically that means that where you're jacked up, you're going to desire somebody, like you said, a project. You're going to try to fix other people, but in reality, what you want to be doing is you really want to be fixing yourself. You really, it's your way of trying to fix yourself. And so you see women do that often. Guys are tend to be fixers emotionally. So if a woman comes home, if a woman comes home and complains about her friend Keisha for 80 days, the brother is going to be like, yo, listen, you the dummy. Stop being around Keisha. Keisha's stupid, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. Though that is the correct thing, she doesn't need that in that moment. What she needs you to be like is like, man, that's messed up. So what you going to do about that? And then cultivate her to begin to make those decisions. That's oftentimes what because guys are fixers. So guys are like, yo, I'd have been cut buddy off if this was me. You the one coming home every day bringing my blood pressure up because she's stressing you out at lunch. Leave this chick alone. Like, she's clearly toxic. You know what I mean? So making the decisions well. And I think also where Black folk in particular, Black Americans, more specifically, stand at a disadvantage, we tend to not have the elders to show us the way. Like,
that's that. And whose fault is that? I think the death of big mamas in the early 2000s and late 90s. When they fell off, and some of them even fed us some wrong stuff too.
All right, so I think that opens up another can of worms. I do think I think that I'm not looking at whose fault as much as I am the circumstances that caused it. Because I can look at you gotta to get to Big Mama in the 2000s, we gotta go back further to when the government incentivized single parented homes.
Yeah.
I know your camera looked like it was about to go out or something, but to when when the government incentivized single homes and at the same time flooded the media with I want to say what people would call toxic masculinity, but I would actually call hyper machismo images of Black men who had like a harem of women. And I think at the core of it, there are certain things that, and again, specifically Black people in America desire as humans that we often don't get because of the systemic breakup of our families.
Well, and a lot of that was by design. Like,
that's why I said,
even with the, like, because we definitely listen, we need to have some lives about that, because I don't know if you saw my catalog, but I went into all that stuff, like on Beware the Pseudo Christian Woman. Like, you got to do a deep dive into that series. I went into that about the Great New Deal, how what is the Morningham report, and the Morningham report came back and they were stunned that the Black women chose the paycheck from the government over the Black men. And from that point on, it was like a downward spiral where they were like basically reducing the value of men to a check. This is why we get that narrative, ain't nothing going on but the rent.
So here's the thing though. All right, so this is why I'm not going to say it's just women. One, I'm going to say I believe it was both, because even when you it's
part of it. It's part of it.
I'm not saying it ain't, good brother. Like, you hear what I'm saying and not what I'm not saying. I'm saying what you're saying is definitely a huge piece of it, but another huge piece of it is the role that men played in the home, and sometimes the way we view certain roles. And all right, I'm going to go back to Samson, because I think that Samson was a very, very interesting example. So you spoke about Delilah, and all I kept thinking was, and again, I'm really not up on what happened with Michael B. Jordan. I know he proposed and she turned him down, and everybody's pissed. And I'm like, there's the world gonna be the world. My focus is not on the world. I am not looking to the world to show me how to speak in a godly way or how to love correctly. I think we do ourselves a disservice in that. I think as Christians, we should be highlighting this what the world do and this what God folks do. But that's just my approach. Everybody has different approaches. So I ain't mad. I feel like that's messed up. If he was my brother, I probably want to fight her. You know what I mean? like straight up. Like I'm the eldest. I have 5 brothers. And I remember telling my brother's prom date, break his heart and I break your face. She turned around like, what? I was like, it is what it is, right? I'm the eldest and the only girl. So what you gonna do? Right. So, but anyway, Sansom.
Your brothers will love you. They love
They do. My brothers and they, although I'm the eldest, my brother, we have big guys in my family. Like my brother's like 6'4", and he's like, they're like, yeah, they don't play when it comes to me, right? So, Sansom was in that situation with Delilah because of Sansom.
Yes, he was. Yes.
So when you talk about choosing well, right? So if we go back and we look at the scripture,
his parents warned him.
He had been compromising in his faith several times over to the point that he wanted a quote unquote worldly woman. And that was part of the issue. I'm like, I'm reading it. He wasn't supposed to touch dead stuff. He remember he ate the honey. So he's compromising. And then he's not supposed to tell her what's going to happen. And this is the crazy part. And in this, the Bible says sin is like unto leaven, right? So what does leaven and leprosy, what do they both do? They destroy as they spread. And leprosy in particular numbs as it spreads. So this dude tells Delilah was just like, well, what's your secret? And he told her and lied to her at first. And then the setup still happened. They still tried to get him. And because he busted out of the setup, he's like, ha, 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 ha. He didn't either he didn't make the connection or he began to be so arrogant that he began to think like nothing's going to happen to me. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he stopped listening to God and started listening to her after he listened to his flesh. And that's what tends to happen. We listen to God, like it says in James, we get tempted by our own, we get drug away by our own desires and our own lusts, right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and that happens. And then we get ourselves in a situation. And then we at Genesis 3, that woman you gave me. It's like, wait a minute, Adam, hold up. And what she say?
He clearly gave you the commandment. He told you not to do it.
And what she say? The devil made me do it. And that's we still have them same excuses to this day. It must have been a demon or something. It wasn't no demon, sis. That was your flesh. Now, don't get me wrong. A demon might have whispered that thought into your ear, but you gave that thing power the moment you conceded to it. So I think that Sansom is important to look at, number one, because the holiness, the holyship, if as I was going to say, the holiness is, and the mantle is on him as the man. The mantle is on him to make the right decision and who he chooses. He chose somebody that was worldly. And when you choose worldly, you gonna get worldly. Now, if you are somebody, and here's the thing, we all, to a degree, have worldly views, which is why one of the foundational scriptures for my channel is Romans 12, 1-3, right? And in that it says, be no longer conformed to the pattern of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. If we don't realize how the world has already conditioned us, if we don't even recognize that our current view of masculinity and femininity is worldly, just sanitized, sprinkled with a little Jesus over it, we're gonna miss what God has for us. So one, I think as it becomes to standards, and I think it's a matter of unlearning, allowing the process of sanctification to take place, and to recognize where you need to be healed. Because let's be honest, when we become Christians, we think that we just need God to deal with the quote unquote big sins. Stop fornicating, don't want to cuss, especially in church. Don't want to, you know what I mean? We deal with that. But in reality, are you prideful? You know what I mean? Are you prideful? Do you know what it means to be humble? Like that, like those are things that literally big doors swing on little hinges. So I think that when it comes to selecting a partner, I think it's very important to know a few things. Number one, that wherever station you are in life, be it marriage or
hold on, before you get into the vetting part, wait a minute. I got to get into what is it? Reddit J. Hey, listen, I understand men are not stepping up or whatever, but listen. I brought go back. I don't know if you are very familiar with our channel. Go back into that Beware the Pseudo Christian Woman series. I talked about that. There's a situation where there are men who are stepping up. The problem that we're having in our community right now is the brothers are leaving, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
That is a whole nother conversation.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's a whole nother conversation. And then also too, not given the space within our community to actually be said man like we're supposed to be. That's another conversation we're going to have too. That's like listen, you've been so used to having your son husband. You've been so used to having to be the head in charge. And then when a suitable dude does come along, you don't want to give him room to put his proverbial foot down, so to speak, or even give him landing space. Like, if a basketball player shoots a jump shot, you got to give him the landing space to land. Otherwise, it's a foul, and you could be, you can get, fouled. You can get ejected from the game because you violated his landing space. So yes, the brother can shoot, but you got to give him the landing space to come down. And in our community, we're not given the landing space to even come down. Like, hey, you know what? We're trying this. Or we establish ourselves in this, but we're not even given the landing space to actually make an imprint on a family, starting a family, and if it's a family we're going into, we don't even get that grace to get that. So go back and look at some of our videos I did on Beware. I think it's a playlist, Beware the Pseudo Christian Woman or whatever, the woman that wants Jesus for all the wrong reasons. Go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
I'm just a little pushback. I'm going to say that I think that both people do that, and I think that the issue, just like I'm gonna speak from a woman that was raised by women that has little brothers, and I'm literally the only female in my family for a 7-year radius, and I have 21 first cousins on my father's side alone. So I tend to come off assertive, and all my life I've been mislabeled as aggressive. And not to mention, I don't know if I ever shared part of my testimony. I came out of the LGBTQIA lifestyle to become a Christian, right? So, and I wasn't one of those people that wanted to be a man and all this other stuff. Although I did struggle with gender identity when I was younger, it was more so because I was also a survivor of sexual abuse. Side note, I don't blame my same-sex attraction on my sexual abuse. It was there before the sexual abuse. However, it supersized the mess out of it, right? So I think that we have to understand certain things. That nuance is something I talk a lot about. There's a difference between a person being domineering and dominating and a person and male headship. And I think that often the world says to be a man is to be domineering. And I'm saying, nah, to be a man is to have headship. And to be a woman, and the world also says submissiveness means you're a sucker. And I'm saying, nah, submissive is godly. It's godly. So the devil has a plan for all of us. The devil has a plan for all of us. And as it pertains to just going back to as it pertains to men and women, and I often say as a therapist, that is something that both men and women have to learn. Women have to learn to hush up, as men have to learn to step up. If you've been the person in charge, and this is what I was talking about before, I had to learn to not lead. I had to learn it. Just like a man has to learn to lead. That is the brushing. That's the iron sharpening iron at times. It's if you've been the person that knows how to do something. I'm gonna give you a prime example. A lot of times, like you said, your husband's son, right? Or sometimes it's your son husband. And what I mean by that is a lot of times women tend to make houses homes, right? And part of the reason why is there are certain things that we've been engineering our entire lives. So you come in the house, you put your drink down. What does she do? She put a coaster underneath it. Why is she putting a coaster underneath your drink? Oh, is it because it's something extra? No, because you paid your hard-earned money so that she can pick out some nice cherry oak. And now if you put your drink down, you're going to ruin it. But as a guy, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking, I just want to rest my drink. So you come in with different skill sets. So and if things get lost in communication. So if she doesn't explain that to you, like, babe, this actually protects the investment that you are putting in the home, then you're going to see her as just being a nag. And what she's hearing, oh, he doesn't appreciate how I make a house a home. So that's just a little, I think that a lot of times, especially if you were raised by a single parent mom, I'm going to say this right now. Patience is a luxury that many single parents can't afford, but it's also a virtue that is necessary for godliness. And if you are,
I'm sorry, I got to do the horns on that. Yes.
So what happens is, I'm gonna give you an example with myself. So when I was younger, I said I was sexually abused by multiple men, right? Boom, right? Throughout a 4-year range, right?
I'm sorry to hear
that. My mom, she had the conversations with me. Good touch, bad touch. My father was absent, not because my mom was a nag or not because of anything like that. My father will tell you right now, my mom was great. He was just in them streets. That's just how it was. And I'm going to say from a Christian perspective, Mom, I love you, but you shouldn't have never messed with him. You shouldn't have. And I'm not saying it like I don't want to be here or I'm not grateful that I'm here. I'm saying I saw his character for whatever reason. I think because he was a little bit older, you felt like it made you look mature. He was the cool guy. You were the cool girl. It made sense, especially back then, but no, right? So my mom had to talk with me several times. And by the way, it's not just the talk, it's several talks that you need to be having with your children. She even had the good touch, bad touch talk. So one day she's having a series of talks with me about good touch, bad touch, and I'm trying to work up the inner agency. I'm trying to work up the inner agency to tell her that something has happened to me. But here's the thing. My mom, and she's asking me questions. She wants to know the answer. My mom got to catch the bus. If she missed the bus, she late for work. If she late for work, we get written up. So she like, so what happened? You all right? Which is not the way to ask the question. It should be, what happened? What's going on? You all right kind of puts the answer in my mouth. It's let me know what she wants to hear, right?
It's a simple yes.
Right. Like, yeah, nothing, right? And this is a tip for parents who have children who are toddlers or even teenagers now, because they developing emotionally a lot slower due to the advent of social media, right? So you will want to ask a child like, tell me something that made you smile this weekend or smile today. Tell me something that made you angry. Tell me something that made you want to throw your phone. Tell me something that you laughed at. That way you begin to find out not only what happened, but the things that trigger those emotions in them. Anyway, so that's just a nugget, right?
That's good.
So she goes to ask me and I don't have the words. And so she's like, Liana, just tell me what's going on. Is something going on? And I'm like, no. So my mom did not have literally the luxury to have the patience that was necessary to hear that her daughter was being sexually touched. And my father was negligent. Right. My father was negligent. And negligence is a form of abuse. It is literally a form of abuse. And we don't talk about the impact of emotional negligence. But that's huge, right? But he wasn't negligent to the point of because he compared himself with his peers who were also not good dads. He did more. He dropped off money. I stayed at his house once a month, mainly with my stepmom and my brother, who at the time was a terror. But me and him, like, again, we cool now. When we just had to fight a couple times. That's all that was. Right? But so my mom didn't have the patience. And then growing up, and then her working at the post office, her being a praying woman, her trying to figure out and navigate life. By the time my mom was 23, she had 3 children and both her parents were dead. I don't know what I would have done in those circumstances. I remember her getting into arguments about her fighting viciously for us. I remember hearing her praying and crying and calling on the Lord for us, right? And so I didn't have a good example of an immediate man growing up beside my grandfather who passed away when I was extremely young. Now my papa was the man. He was the man. Just gentleman. Like, he was the man. He was like old school, just different, right? And so I say that to say, if we don't have the examples, we are already being conditioned by the world to think about masculinity, femininity, and the roles of men and women already a particular way. So that's why I think it's important to highlight what is the world saying and how has what the world saying creeped into the church. And also,
don't let that, because I'm gonna have a whole nother live about that, because that's a whole nother live.
And also, just what are the trappings of the flesh? Because you got certain things that'll trap the flesh. It ain't about the world. It's just about being in this human flesh. You know what I mean? So women want providers. How does the world manipulate that? You want a sugar daddy. You want a zaddy. Men want women who are going to exalt them, right? And not exalt them who are going to affirm them, right? How does the world play that out? I need somebody that's going to stroke my ego. People conflate ego strokes with dignity boosters all the time, all the time. And so what happens is your deepest deficiencies become your greatest desires. So if you were not affirmed, if you were not protected, if you were not validated, you go looking for these things in relationships automatically. That's why you got young girls like, yeah, daddy. That's weird to me. You're not my dad. And I can understand, and don't get me wrong, I understand like mama, papa, like stuff like I get that. But girls really like, I just to let you know, I work with young girls in the city who were more likely to murder or be murdered by the age of 25, right? We're young, mainly women, but also some males too, right? And they would say stuff like, I like when he tell me when to get in the house, or when he grabbed me, and like I don't like when he hurt me, but I like when he tell me to be in the house. And I'm like, did you have a good relationship with your dad? They're like, nah, why? I'm like, you want a dad? Like, you want a dad? Or like I remember a dude saying to one of my friends, a brother in church, he saw her and she was solid sister. He walked up to her, he liked her. He said, can you be my mom? I said, bro, no, like foul, nah. And so I love the example even that you gave with a foul, because number one, if we on the same team, I shouldn't even be trying to block your shot.
Oh, come on.
I should be giving you the assist. I should be throwing you the oop.
You should have passed me the rock.
Right. I should have threw you the oop. Like you getting it from the rip. So also,
rebound if I miss.
Right. And vice versa. Like I used to play sports. I used to play basketball. I was a point guard, more like a power guard, if there is such a thing. But I loved passing the ball first.
Almost like that what is that, Lowry for the Heat, Miami Heat? He's almost like a little power
Yeah, like so I like Pat. My favorite guard at the time was Magic Johnson. So if you know Magic, he did it. He literally played
like
every position on the court.
Literally like a power guard,
right? But he was known for what? Doing the dishes, for passing the ball. Because for me, the assist to me was something that showed the selflessness. It showed your ability to see the entire court. So if I'm going to dish you the ball, that means I have to know where you're going to be. I have to be assumptive. We have to have synergy. I have to place it at the right place. And also, if I'm trying to block your shot and I don't give you enough room to come down, that can literally ruin careers. There are shady players who deliberately put their foot underneath the person who jumped so that they can tear Achilles, mess up ACLs, and all kinds of things. So I love the analogy that you use. And I think that it's not just women. I think it's men and women. And unfortunately, what's happening to men now, because I do think that there is a crisis with men. I'm going to be clear with that. I also think that the crisis already existed with women, and men are now beginning to feel, and particularly Black men. It's happening with some sects of white men, but they're now beginning to feel what having your gender is to be a pariah. Like, for instance, some of the worst things you can say about a man is literally calling him a woman. Like, it's like you anything doing with a P, a B, which, you know what I mean? There is no sexual equivalent for females. However, now we're in a day and age where someone calling you a man is an insult. That was not the case before. You know what I mean? But because in the past, society accepted being called a woman or a girl an insult, all of a sudden now men being labeled as insulting, it's like, whoa, you coming at my gender. And as a woman, I'm like, yeah, yo, bro, that's messed up. Welcome to the party. They've been saying that about us. How about we tag team and form Voltron and say, yo, don't weaponize my design, how God made me. Don't do that. That's sinful. So,
I think it's good. I think you said a lot of stuff. You know, you kind of messed up because you went into a lot of stuff we're gonna get into later in the summer.
I was trying, but I got a lot more. I was trying not to tip my hand. I was trying to
I know, and I'm like, if she don't stop going there, and on our channel too. I'm like, oh, you going there because you almost got me to go into the Black culture and church culture and the blend of the world. Man, listen, let me stop. But listen, no, because you've been dope. I really want to get into that because one of the things you said is we live in a fallen world. I get that, but my only gripe with that is this: everybody lives in a fallen world. Why are the stats so bad or so drastic between white, Black, Latina, and Hispanic or Latino?
Right. Because of how it's falling.
Yeah, but even with the fall, it's still, I'm still choosing to prioritize marriage at an earlier age. And it's like, I don't know what it is. And I know that a lot of it is because let's just keep it a book. Black culture, like, we set the culture. Whatever the Black culture is, we're trendsetters or whatever. And so
we definitely are.
We are more married to culture as opposed to tradition and our God that we say that we serve. We have a form of godliness, but we deny the power thereof. And that is all through the Black culture. We say we love Jesus, but our hearts are far from. I done get in it. I done got into my stuff. But I'm just trying to tell you, we live in a fallen world, and we are the people who are the ringleaders. And so if there's anybody that's going to be true to the culture, it's going to be us, because we are the ones who perpetuate the culture. And we honestly, we have marketed the culture. It's been capitalized, and it plays to our benefit because the culture is so attractive and so sexy. We will be foolish not to be loyal to the soil, to the culture. But the problem is our culture is toxic and it is godless. It's godless. It is so far removed from God. And so this is why we might be leading in these categories of not being married because our culture says it's not cool to be married. Our culture says it's not cool to be settled down. Our culture says we need to have hot girl summers. Go get it bust wide open. Be 30 years old with your tires flat, 4 flats on a Cadillac. Your walls are caved in, and the dude don't want you, and you wonder why he don't want you. It ain't. Don't come at me talking about I love Jesus. Yes, you love Jesus, but the ramifications are still there, and we still have to deal with it. But the culture, it is the culture that makes it to where we're always going to finish in last place because we're more married to a culture than we are our Lord, who we say is our Lord. But listen, I don't want to go any more further into that. I want to save that. One of the things that when we talk about, because I do want to let you go. When we talk about one of the things that we need to look for, what I believe that men need to look for, because we're talking about the man looking for the woman, and you can even talk about what the woman looks for the man, is we don't need to be looking for just looks only, because you need to actually go off of character. Scripture is scripture. Proverbs 31:30, charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That's going to be true until the end of time. And I think so often we make our decisions solely on looks and we forget the character. And looks are part of it. Listen. I get, somebody who loves the Lord. I get it. My wife loves the Lord. I get it. We wouldn't even got to the point to where she loves the Lord had I not had a physical attraction to her. I'm gonna just tell you, when I met my wife in the elevator, I had to be physically attracted to her. I wouldn't have cared if she loved Jesus. I wouldn't have. So, but what I am saying is this: looks have to be part of it. But then the character looks can reel you in, but it's the character that needs to keep you. The character is going to keep you. And so I think that we need to look more. We need to look into, do they have those godly characters? Also, here's another thing. Can she be led? Now, listen, first of all, you need to be checking, can I lead? Can I lead? And then, okay, if I can lead, I need to be looking for a woman that can be led. And if a woman has, and I'm sorry, this is the truth. If a woman has a take charge attitude from the jump on the date, doesn't let you talk. I'm talking about a take charge attitude in everything. Listen, at that point, she can't be led, because that is a snapshot of what it's going to be. That is a snapshot. Listen, you can shake your head left to right all day. I can do it too. If she has a take charge attitude and don't even want to let you talk, don't want to let you order, don't want to let you lead, I'm telling you, that is a snapshot of what it's going to be in a relationship. And you will be a dude that will dread coming home. You'll be like, man, I got a boss at home, and I got a boss at work, and I got a boss at home. I'm telling you, men, if I got brothers on this live, put a 1 in the chat if you know I am speaking the gospel truth. I am telling you, there's nothing like somebody. Now, I get it. Sometimes you definitely need to have women who can be assertive. But there's a difference between being assertive and having this, listen, I got it. What you stepping in like you a dude for? I got it. No, you ain't got it.
Can I speak to that difference really quick?
Go ahead.
Can I speak to that difference really quick? I'm glad you made that distinction. I think that a lot of times we get the two confused. And again, I think leadership does not mean dominance. So you like, I think I look at certain couples, like I don't have one particular model of couple that I really like or whatever. And some of them are fictitious, like Cliff and Claire, I think are a great example. Others are actually real life. And I think that for guys who have more domineering personalities, they need a woman who is not going to be as assertive. Now, know that I didn't say aggressive. Of course, nobody, and I'm gonna say this even as a woman, I don't want an aggressive dude. I don't want that. I want an assertive man. I want a man that's going to lead, but I don't want a man that's going to domineer me. Like, so I think that, and how I need to feel, we are literally as women designed for the man to be assertive. Like his male anatomy protrudes, ours receives. Like there is, like men are designed to be assertive. However, and again, this is why I said what I said before. Culture kind of conditions us to think that dominance equals masculinity, and that's not what that is. And so I love how you said learn to lead and also learn to partner. And I agree with you that if she cannot take correction, if she forget you leading her, if she can't even take you partnering with her in correction, you ain't going. And that's true for anybody in any capacity, but especially in marriage.
I'm gonna tell you this. Now listen, we don't say that P word on here. Now listen, we may talk about partnership, but when we get to marriage, I don't agree. I don't believe in partnership. I don't believe in power couples, and I don't believe in partnership. Now, if we're talking about working with each other, fine. But I want to stay with the Bible. As far as now, I know what you're saying, but I just want to let everybody know, Jermaine, I'm not cool with partners. There's no equivalent to a wife. There's no equivalent to a husband. You know what I mean. I'm not. Let me be clear. I know what you mean. I just need to say it straight for the channel. Y'all know, Danny. I know what honestly speaking is talking about. But yeah, we don't believe in power couples neither. And I think that's one of the things they got caught up in power couples. This whole power couple. Listen, man, no.
Yeah, I don't think that even in examples, in that one example I listed with Cliff and Claire, Cliff was clearly the head of the family.
Yeah.
He was clearly the head of the family, but Claire ran the house. Mm-hmm. And he would listen to her, but she would submit to him.
That was okay. And that was okay. It was a lot of people that called him a beta man. I'm like, he wasn't a beta.
He was far from a beta. He was the man.
It was never challenged. Even when you remember him when he was eating them hoagies and she was snatching the hoagie out of him.
Yo, listen, I'm about to high five you through the screen.
That wasn't her being domineering and being masculine. That was her loving her husband.
Her husband, right?
She took that mug right out his hand.
Right.
Because she say, I'll be doggone, not on my watch. You not going to pull over on my watch. That's what real love looks like.
Right. And so again, I like to say submission is not a curse word, sisters. And brothers, humility doesn't make you what's called a quote unquote beta. And while we're at it, can we just dismiss this worldly notion of alpha, beta? Like it came from a man who studied wolves and primates, and he found out it wasn't even true. Like, now I get it. You being ahead is being ahead. That's great. But this is not that. Humans are not animals. And the more we refer ourselves to animals, we are not referring ourselves to who God created us to be. As a woman, I'm not less than. I believe, and this is what I meant by partner. I believe, like, I remember saying to one of my friends, oh, it's our business. He the CEO, though. He the CEO. It's our business, but he the CEO. You feel like that's what I meant. Like, oh yeah, we part. Even in a business partnership, you the CEO. So and again, I'm gonna say I believe that men and women are equal in value, but distinct in purpose. Mm-hmm. Equal in value, distinct in purpose, and distinct in function.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It
doesn't make one less than the other.
Yeah, equal in value, 100%. Equal in value.
Listen, and this is no secret. Me and my wife, we have a joint checking account. It all goes in the same place. As I go, she goes. If she goes, I go. If I fail to lack discipline financially, then it's going to hurt us, not just me. It's going to hurt our household. And the same thing for her. it's if she doesn't do her role in the household, then something is lacking. If I don't do my role, we all work together. We will work together. And so, yeah.
And sometimes that looks different. Like I know somebody, like for instance, a brother, he's a pastor and he's a truck driver.
I'm the cook of the
Exactly. He's a pastor and a truck driver. His wife is an accountant. She handles the money. But it's his money. She'll be like, babe, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Cool. And he'll be like, yeah, all right. What we working with? What we got? So it's again, I think the world has really gotten to us as Christians. And we are mislabeling a lot. And I think that I do think brothers need to watch out. And I think sisters need to watch out too. And one, because it's a different calling to be led. That means I have to trust you to do a thing, which means I need to see the character, which is part of the issue. Sisters don't wait for the character. They looking at the account, right? They looking at what he could. Can we keep it a bean? Just like brothers ain't looking at the character. They looking at the cup. You know what I mean? Or cup size. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something about them. Like, what do you mean it's something about her? She came into church looking like she baking bread. Like, when she got the buns all out in the front and the back, and brothers coming through with their male cleavage, they heavage out in church with tank tops on, beards all lustrous, combed out, coming late to the front of the, excuse me, sis. You know what you're doing. You thirst trapping too. Modesty is, and I would say this too, modesty is also for men. Brothers, if you know that women are being conditioned to be gold diggers or trapped for money, and you are somebody that's always flossing something or where you at on and you're trying to make yourself look like it's a thin line between a man who has a plan and a man who has a scheme. And if you're trying to look like you got a lot of money, that's not being modest. And I'm not saying look like a broke dude. I'm not saying come on with ashy knuckles and no hairline and all this. Nobody's saying that. I'm saying I'm not saying that. Right. I'm saying don't.
Are you saying a dusty?
No, I don't even use. I don't want to call him a dusty. But I'm not. Don't go on the camera setting yourself up for girls who are taught to be financial predators. Mm-hmm. In the same way that sisters should not go on the camera to set themselves up for men that are sexual predators.
Come on,
like
now.
Don't do it. And then you wondering, like, I can't find anybody. Well, look where you're looking. Look where you're looking.
Look at the bait you're using too. So
right. So yeah, but anyway, good bro. I gotta get ready to get out. You saw me stretching my back trying to move. I gotta get ready to we gotta set that up. Misogyny versus feminism. Well, that's gonna be a great discussion.
Yeah, we really do. So dope, man. Honestly speaking, talk to them about your channel real quick before you get off.
Oh yeah. My name is Honestly Speaking. I'm a Christian. I have a channel.
What is your real name? What is your real name? Tell them your real name.
My real name, I don't say it on the internet. I said it before, but you can say Leigh. You can say Leigh.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you.
I'll tell you my real name for sure.
I got you.
And the reason why I don't, I'm a therapist, and some of the views that I have, because they're biblical, I've literally had some people who are dealing with some mental health issues really try to ruin me. And so that I'm not, and I'm not married. I'm not, although I love my brothers, they all have families, and I'm not married, and we are a 2A believing family, and I don't want to get nobody in trouble. So so my channel is Honestly Speaking, just like the name you see on YouTube. I'm a Christian. I come from a Christian perspective. On my lives, I have two types of lives. I have the ones that are called Clear and Honest with me. I'm honest, and my sister, her name is Crystal Clear. We talk about specific Christian content. And then on my live channels, not everybody on my panel is a Christian. So I talk about topics that people can engage with non-believers about. And my aim in that is to show people how, one, we can talk about topics with the world without becoming like the world, and also how to actually have relational evangelism when we talk about certain topics. So yeah, man.
Yeah. So like what y'all do on Thursdays, that's when you have like some non-believers on, right?
Right.
What are the other days you go live where it's just like maybe you and your sister Crystal, or just you?
Sometimes it's on a Thursday, sometimes it's on a Tuesday. You just look for the tag, it'll say clear and honest. Like on the one we just did, we talked about sex, and that was with a panel of believers and non-believers, and we were responding to a survey that we put out. And then the one before that, it was a fellow therapist who was also a Christian, and we talked about how to grieve properly and how to actually take care of ourselves from a Christian perspective. So you'll see the ones that are specific for Christian, it'll say something in the title. It'll say clear and honest, C&H, and those are the Christian ones.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah, that's dope. So yeah, so y'all make sure y'all go ahead, stay on this live, but y'all make sure y'all go find her channel just like God's Child did. She said she just found your channel, as you can see. She subbed or whatever, and y'all go show the sister love because she's doing her thing.
Thank you so much, man. Don't forget, y'all hit like on this too. When y'all, I know, because sometimes when you're live streaming, you can't like this. Hit like, log out, and come back in and hit like. All right.
Yeah. Click out the live. This is a good sister in the faith, even though she comes from that dirty city up north. I forget the name of the city, but
fly, Eagles fly. Hey.
That city where they have no brotherly love, Philadelphia. For whatever reason, I don't know why, because it ain't lovely.
Look at that. You know, the Church of Philadelphia is in the Bible.
Yeah, but it wasn't in Philadelphia. It wasn't in Philadelphia.
And we was one of the good ones too. So
yeah, y'all was one of the good ones, but it wasn't this Philadelphia. Some of the brothers never met.
All right, good brother.
God bless you, brother. I mean, sister. Right. I was saying brothers because I was talking about the brothers up there I done met that are grimy. You're clearly not brother, but y'all gonna bless this sister. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to her channel. Dope content. All right, sis, you take it easy. Yeah, man. So listen, that so I really appreciate y'all rocking with us. Some of the things I wanted to talk about, we really got into that great discussion. That's a good sister in the faith. Y'all really need to do, go subscribe to her channel. But, as far as that whole vetting, can she be led? Also, one of the things we need to remember is she a genuine lover of God, or is she that pseudo-Christian woman? And that's the same thing for the man. Is he a lover of God, or does he just want to get in them draws? I know, we just keep it a buck here. I mean, let's just be real. You need to vet people. And I know that sometimes it's hard to vet, and it's like, oh, dog, this is so corny. Why I gotta vet them? Because you do. Vetting people may be tedious, but it's worth it because it'll save you a whole lot of headache in the end. Have some other people get around them. Yeah, have some people get around. Have some people that you trust get around that person, and they'll be able to spot some things you may not be able to spot. And also, too, how do they treat people that they don't have to do life with? Basically, the people that are, the service workers, are they mean to the waitress? Are they mean to the waiter? The people that are not in their lives, how do they treat those people? That's how you can find some of those character traits that you won't necessarily get from them in certain settings in a relationship or what have you. So anyways, y'all, those are just some of the little things about vetting. I think vetting is so important, but at the end of the day, to summarize all of this is a very sad situation. This brother, he knew what he was getting into, and for whatever reason, he eventually wanted to get married and she wasn't ready. One thing that we can definitely learn from this is to vet people before you dive head first into a relationship. That's just called wisdom, and that's from a biblical perspective. Y'all listen, this has been real, and y'all know what I always say. Somehow, some way, somebody gonna find a way to get offended by what I say. But here's what I got to say to some of y'all folk, or to all of y'all. For all the trolls, or anybody else. If you're offended, I really don't care.
Get up here, we getting right. Shining like the city light. Pray in the morning, midday, and talk to God at night. I see the pain, I see the hurting, but I see the hope and know this purpose. City on the hill and high we out here breaking. Lord, I know you feel my need. Hey, for my enemies, they so envy.